After getting your sax, you might struggle to find a place you can play with full force without disturbing others. So in this short video I will share with you 12 tips on how to practice saxophone quietly. Tip number 1. Stuff your saxophone bell. You can use any soft fabric or cloth, soft enough not to damage the instrument. This is the easiest and cheapest workaround that anyone can do. However, not as effective as it might seem. You see, a saxophone is not like some of its brass counterparts. The sound does not only come out of the bell opening, but through other holes of the instrument. So, overall, the result might not be very satisfying. Tip number 2. Get a saxophone muffler. Muffler is a special device made for saxophone players to silence the bell of the saxophone. While most of the product descriptions claim you can absorb yourself in practicing saxophone without disturbing others, they simply are not effective either, because the problem stays the same. As the sound escapes from the other holes of the saxophone, the instrument is still quite loud and still disturbs others. Tip number 3. Another way to reduce the sound disturbance to the surroundings is to practice your instrument in a closet. Closets usually have enough space for an average person to stand and play saxophone, while the clothes help to cut the sound waves and provide natural soundproofing. However, if you live in a smaller apartment and you can't find such room, you can move to the next potential solution. Tip number 4. If you have a car, it can be a nice alternative to your flat. If you're eager to practice and don't want to disturb others, you can take your saxophone to your car and do a couple of sessions there, if you feel an urge to practice that one melody you've been thinking about the whole day. This might be a little awkward if you live in a residential area and people walk around, but hey, it's not like you're doing anything against the law, right? Tip number 5. Try practicing saxophone outdoors. If the weather accommodates, it's a great option to go outdoors and practice the instrument in the nature. If you can find a spot, like a remote corner of the park or just outside of the city, you might find the playing experience to be quite rewarding. Tip number 6. If you're wondering how to practice saxophone in the apartment without disturbing your neighbors, you can actually talk to them and ask if there is a possible time gap you can practice without disturbing. People will usually be okay with you practicing as long as you tell them ahead of the time. However, if you need to practice extensively and a few hours are just not gonna cut it, we can go to other solutions. Tip number 7. During the beginner stage, when practicing the saxophone, it is important to practice the right way of reaching and pressing the keys. You can practice the posture and get comfortable with holding the instrument while playing the fingering charts or studying the fingering of new songs that you might like. Tip number 8. Try and check out if there are music institutions around you which might have practice rooms available. You can ask to book one of the practice rooms for free, or you can pay a small fee to get in there and master the instrument free of guilt. Tip number 9. Getting a full-size saxophone mute. The full-size saxophone mutes are full-body cases that cover the entire instrument, leaving only the holes to insert hands to reach the keys. These cases have soundproof insulation inside, and they can effectively reduce the sound of the saxophone while playing. The case is easily applicable to your instrument and makes it comfortable to practice in apartments or anywhere without much disturbance to the people around. Tip number 10. Another effective solution to freely practice and play your saxophone is to soundproof your room. This could be done on a cheaper scale or professionally, depending how serious you are about practicing the instrument. Also, there are several videos you can watch to learn how to soundproof your room with minimum expenditure. Tip number 11. Get a whisper room booth. A whisper room booth is a small room, custom built and soundproof to enable practicing music without disturbing others. However, not everybody would be willing to invest in this type of solution. But if you're serious about your saxophone career, it is one of the best choices you can make to solve the issue. And finally, tip number 12. Get a digital saxophone or a wheat synthesizer. These instruments are electronic counterparts to a classical saxophone, and a truly excellent addition to the saxophone family. Wind synthesizers have a similar tone and key alignment and would definitely be a great alternative to a classical saxophone if you want to practice it quietly. You can easily adjust the volume of these instruments or practice with your headphones not to disturb the ones around you. This video was brought to you by Soundmasters. For more tips about saxophones, you can visit our website soundmasters.com. Thanks for watching.